Oh my goodness, Aries. I just realized that I was talking for like 20 or 30 minutes and the recording wasn't on. And this is like the second or third time I try to do reading and there's like interruptions galore. But I'm not going to draw any more or new. I'm just going to go about trying to deliver this reading. Hopefully with less blah blah blah. It's probably improvement. Whatever, I'll just go. First card out. The Tower. Mars energy. Fast, sudden, unexpected energy. This is, you're the ruling planet of Mars. Big, fiery, unexpected ending. And you put an end to working together with somebody. Possibly someone wanted to come and work with you, or you wanted to work with somebody. Perhaps there was a third-party situation or some sort of betrayal. Or you feel betrayed, ganged up on by a group situation. And if not, this is a third party, someone on the outside of a relationship. Now your foundation is a past life relationship, past life soulmate. This can be a ex. This could be family members that you grew up with. These are somebody that you had deep karmic ties with. Whether it was within this life or the last, I feel like it was this life as well, along with the last. And you've had a lot of deep karmic ties with these group of people, family members, individuals, for many lifetimes over. Now in the past, this is a reunion, reconciliation. This is a third-party situation. I feel like there has been some kind of betrayal, ganging up on. This is a third party, like somebody on the outside of a situation. And if it's not a romantic third party kind of situation person, then it could also be a outside family member getting involved in a relationship or family situation. Or it could be a third-party situation as well, but whatever it was, it definitely, you brought the ending down, you brought down the tower, and you are keeping to yourself and you're holding yourself back in your own energy. You're no longer giving the emotion to this. You are no longer holding space for it. You could be overindulging, possibly, but you're just taking care of you and yours, and you're no longer running the space within inside of your head. In the future, perhaps you got a soulmate up ahead of you after this ending, after walking away from this bad situation. It feels like a toxic family situation, or a toxic job, or possibly a toxic marriage, and but there was a foundation here, I feel like it, and someone you had a long-standing situation with, and you dealt with it far too long because you've had a long history with them. But throughout history, all they ever did was really take, and they took a lot, and you put up with it for much too long because you did have this emotional tie to them, possibly families, parents, perhaps there's some kind of like abandonment issue, or feelings like this weird feeling of being responsible to take care of everybody. And perhaps that became a habit for yourself as well, that you became like a doer, like this overgiver, this the caretaker in some way, or it's just like this, the history was the thing that kept you around dealing with these people, regardless if they were selfish or not. Maybe you had hope that it would improve, or they would, as long they would have a better situation, that they would realize that their wrongdoings or what they contributed to it, or things would get better, and you would feel supported one day eventually. But it definitely didn't end up that way. And you kind of accepted the situation that this is as good as it's gonna get. Like, it's not going to get any better, and it's not all that great, and you keep on giving to the situation. They keep on taking, not being supportive, and all you do is feel depleted, and you had to put an end to it, you know? And I believe it is the right thing to do. There could be, in your future, a separation to this whole situation. Could be dealing with a Gemini or someone within their chart. Perhaps you got a new soulmate up ahead. Someone who you also have a deep karmic tie to. And perhaps it's fated that you meet this person, and I'm not saying this is like you're divine or whatever, like I don't even know if I really believe that, but I believe that there are karmic ties that we have, and usually when you feel a strong magnetic pull to somebody, it's usually because you have some business to attend with the other, some karmic kind of like a karmic play out that needs to happen. And through this, through the people that we learn, the relationships that we have, the reactions people have to us, and vice versa, is how we learn about ourselves and about the universe overall. And when you finally put the end of this, it kind of put a blockage out of your way, and it's going to leave you open for someone new. Or this could be, possibly this is a separation. I don't know. There was some distance involved now. In the there will be a distance. This karmic situation is definitely, you know, the lesson learned, the lesson was learned, the karma was spent. And sometimes there will be a separation, and in order to prepare you for your next lesson, not only is the people that we meet are lessons, but they're also catalysts to the next awakenings that we have. And we have many awakenings throughout our lifetime. It's never just one. And I would describe an awakening as like a deep, unbiased, and undeniable truth that once realized, that one, you can't forget about it, two, that it will forever change your life in a way that you can never go back to the way that things were. And you would think something like that so profound would just be like a one-time thing, but it's not, because soul growth is not easy, and you know, sometimes it takes a lot of pain. Perhaps this is feeling left out in the cold. This is feeling abandoned, rejected, loss from this separation, possibly. And perhaps you did play the scapegoat within your family, and perhaps the way that they were able to keep you in line for as long as they did while you continued to still give it to you give to them is like this programming that they instilled you with in order to be that forever caretaker. And they do this by continuous rejection and not making you feel less than or responsible for every wrongdoing. So you would constantly be trying to make it up, trying to work things out, trying to overwork and overdo, and all the while that they're manipulating you to overwork and overdo and take all of their responsibilities, you find yourself more and more depleted. And there was more than a couple times you needed some love and assistance and help, and then where were they? They were nowhere to be found. And it happened every time again and again and again. Every time you try to work with this person, it ended up the same way. And you had to put a separation between it, because it was like it was like you were trying to keep on working on a situation that was never meant to last, that was doomed to fail, and that just prolonged the pain and the inevitable. But you kept on going back for that hope. Like the bottom of the barrel hope, and Pandora opening up that box and letting go all of the evils of the world. And the most evil thing that was left behind was hope, because it keeps you stuck, hoping for a situation that is ultimately cancerous and toxic for you, and yet it keeps you bound to it because you feel like that, and because possibly you did want that love and support, and you feel like this is what you had to do, was overdo and overworked, because that's the only way you would be worthy for love that you should have been given freely to begin with. Your environment, they see you as waking up. They see you, even if they did treated you like this, whether it was conscious on, no matter how much percentage wise was conscious and unconscious, and I sure it was both at the same in the same time. But they feel that you're no longer dealing with a situation, that now you see the truth, now you have a new perspective, now you saw what was underneath that mask, and how that hope that you've had that it would be better, that you would get the love that in some way craved so much, that as long as you made them realize that you were worthy for it, but the truth was you always were worthy. This is your hopes and fears, the sun. This is illumination. Look at this. Ace of Swords. The truth shall set you free. And this is illumination. This is awakening. This is breaking out of programming, these rigid, false beliefs and implanted false beliefs and structures that only ever serve the people that implemented them in you. And now that you see the truth to the situation, on how you are your own energy source, it cause you to have to fight to stand up for yourself. They definitely saw a light within you, and you hope for better. You hope for more than just the illumination of the people that were sabotaging you behind the scenes, possibly even right up front too. But this is accepting that it's as good as it's gonna get, and it's not gonna improve, and the only thing that I can do is work on a better life and a more joyous life and a better, higher vibe energy, and build my own joy and love, because whenever these people were involved, there is no joy and love. There's no acceptance. There's only, and if it was temporary, and it was given as a means to get for them, that they would get something out of it. It was manipulative on this part, because they feel like they always had to compete with you. This is like a lot of competition. This is like a lot of gaslighting. This is triangulation, really is triangulation. These are family members who would talk a lot of crap about the other family member to get the other ones in line. This is, kind of like being ganged up on if you are that scapegoat. And perhaps it did affect you in psychologically in ways that you had this underlying sense of being not good enough. But now you are seeing the truth, and you elevated, and now you're no longer taking their dysfunction as personal, because honestly, it had nothing to do with you. And you took on that responsibility that you're the reason that of all of their problems, because they try to put that on you, but it's not yours, it's theirs. We're all responsible of our own life and our own actions, and the people who don't accept their own faults and shadows and responsibilities of things, they tend to project that out of themselves to other people, and the people who refuse to see their shadow. And what I mean by that is that, we all have that light and dark aspects to ourselves. And we're never supposed to be like, oh, well, one side is good and one side is bad. Because, that's duality, and duality is not human. It's not it's not natural. There's a balance to anything in life. You need a light to have a contrast for the bad. You need life for the contrast of death, because it's that balance within the other. And not only is it important to see our own shadow, but to integrate it and not reject it and hate ourselves for having it, but seeing it in an overview, an overhead perspective, and trying to remain kind of like objective about where it is that they actually come from in regards to you, and what is it that you feared and you were scared of and you were trying to protect when you had a certain reaction towards certain people that would try to bait you. And it's a certain reaction that was actually programmed within you. It's either to comply, or they would triangulate you with the rest of the group in order to do so. And perhaps you have lived out this dynamic for a really long time in many different environments, But then it needed to happen in order for you to realize something about yourself. Where is this wound? And perhaps this is this wound that magnetizes you to situations that you wanted to ignore or not acknowledge that was there in the first place. And when you don't acknowledge any pain or hurt or rejection or feeling abandoned or left out, then it just kind of persists. And when you see your shadow and you learn to integrate it, you start to realize how contributive your shadow is to the light aspects of you. It's as contributive as I don't know if Alan Watts or Carl Jung, but he says the shadow aspect is as contributive as manure is to the rose. You know, the rose actually needed that fertilizer, you know, and within every single part of us, whatever good, hardworking, loving, God-loving, brother-loving, sister-loving, humanity-loving, caring, empathetic person, there's also an undisciplined, unbalanced, deconstructed bum. And which is an aspect that we need of ourselves. And it's not something to hate, it's something to revere and be appreciative of. Because this whole idea of being like, oh, like this whole, well, you know, what would Jesus do? Be like Jesus. Well, we can't be like Jesus because we're not like Jesus. We can't be like God because we're not like God, because we're human. And even if we are like that Godhead or source or whatever you may think that is, he, she, you know, divine, has light and dark aspects to them too. And it's to understanding that and not to reject the dark side, because it's akin to rejecting yourself. And when you reject yourself, you tend to be overly critical and opinionated and judgmental of everyone around you, because whenever you see aspects of yourself in other people, you have a deep, like, distaste or disgust towards it, because what you don't want to see is the aspects of you that you kind of don't want to see. And to remain unconscious of the things that hold you back and the wounds that keep us stuck and blocked is akin to like a purgatory. And the thing is, you are illuminating no matter what good and bad characteristics that you have, and it's no need to just focus on all of the good. It's important to accept the bad parts of ourselves as well, and not be ashamed of them, but be supportive of them. And ultimately that will be more supportive of yourself. And when you're more loving and supportive of yourself, you're more able to be more loving towards the people around you. And the people that don't appreciate that, or the people that want to keep you in the same paradigm so they could continue to have all of the benefits that they were getting from you, because you are a huge light source, Aries. You're meant for great things, and they could see this within you. And perhaps this was why there was all this triangulation, but you're holding yourself back against it. And you're learning how to stand up for yourself, and you're no longer taking it and rolling over, no matter how much of a relationship or history that you have with them, because that's the very thing that they used to keep you under control, acting like they knew you better than you know yourself. And perhaps they even did at one point, because they were programming the way you feel about yourself through their everyday interaction. And this is why you're no longer dealing with them. They may even come back and try to start some crap, but if they do, they're going to realize that you're a different person, and you're not kind of like weak towards their tactics that they use anymore, because it looks like all of these high conflict people, and it looks like a lot of them, you cut out a lot of people, and you've never felt so light and free. 8 of Wands. This is movement. This is fast communication. This is movement towards you. This is texts, calls back and forth. This is movement towards. This is action. These are messages. Somebody's trying to reach out to you. Perhaps you've blocked them already because they want to start a fight with you. These are people that definitely have a competitive streak with you, or feel the need to compete with you. And you're no longer dealing with them. Because you're not getting anything from it. You're not. It's not beneficial. I feel like they're going to try to bait you. Hold yourself back from it, because they're just drama, and the thing is, they can't blame you to always be the scapegoat or the reason for all of their problems when you're not even around and they're still having problems. How can you be the problem when they're their own problems? And stuff hasn't changed since you cut yourself out of the situation, and perhaps they want to come back in, and because you've been holding yourself back, but it's really just to bring more drama. But I don't feel like you're going to be dealing with this anymore, because right now you're creating. I create my vision. You're creating your vision that you want. You're going towards something brand new with passion, and you're protecting it. And I feel like there's going to be some competition coming up ahead of you. There's going to be conflict, triangulation. But I feel like you know who this person is now. These people. It took you a long time to realize it, but it's that truth that, now that you see it, you can't look away. And it's crazy how toxic ass people, they have such a short memory. They really do. And no matter what kind of crap they pulled in the end to get what they want or to sabotage you in some way, they really think that they could always just walk back in and they'll be cool. And they honestly feel entitled, and they feel like insulted that you don't just allow them to come back in and not even mention the incident or fight or fault, and they don't even say sorry. They're just like, oh, hey, what's going on, blah blah blah, and then it's the same bullshit because they're coming. It's the same energy. It's just they feel the need to compete with somebody because instead of building on themselves and what they got to work on, the way they feel like they could compete with you is to make you feel bad about yourself. And that's why you put an end to it. Now, let me give you advice. Hold yourself back. These people have been trying to reach you. Perhaps you did block them out, but they want to bring drama. Because the high conflict people have high conflict around them, you know, and that's, I mean, it's pretty, in that aspect, it's simple to see, you know, it's not just always everybody else, you know what I mean? There's always stuff that we add to, you know, there's always stuff that we add to, and I know, it's not like I'm perfect and I could handle things bad sometimes too. I could be a hothead as well, but usually I don't just come off like that. It's usually after multiple times, and I gotta tell you multiple times, and then I'm blowing off my top. But you gotta ask yourself, has this been multiple times, and should I be yelling and screaming when, if they really respected me in the first place, would it ever get to that point that I have to yell and scream? You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't control anyone's behavior, and especially the best determining future behavior is their past behavior, right? And if they were always kind of jerks, conflict, dramatic people, then there'll always be dramatic people. You know, it's not going to change. And you can't change their behavior or make them see, because a lot of times these are adults and stuff, and you know, it's not like you get the right magic collection of words that things are, that they'll wake up. It's not. They were like this since their whole adult, their possibly majority of their lives, and more than likely they will be like that for the rest of their lives too. And it's not your responsibility to stick around and be someone's punching bag, or, you know, they're told to make themselves feel better by knocking you down all the time. Look at that. Imagine. I think the sky's the limit. There is something that you are trying to build within the tangible world around you. You are trying to manifest this into existence, something that you've had a dream to do for a really long time. Now the tribe, never-ending story. These people, family situation, it is what it is. It will always be the way it always is. And although it hurts to realize this, it's okay to grieve about it. I don't think that makes you a victim. But you don't want to keep setting your whole future life up with the same situations and outcomes. Then you will become that victim. It's okay to grieve for that, but give yourself a time limit to grieve for that. And if this would to help you in any constellation, that it wasn't meant to hurt you, it wasn't meant to punish you, it was meant to evolve you spiritually and to prepare you for your destiny point and your life path within this life. And there's some realizations and lessons that we have to learn in order for us to gain that certain kind of insight and that overall evolution of soul and spirit, in order for us to prepare us for our journey ahead. And the call to the wild is scary, I'm sure, but what you're going to find within it is your own divinity and a connection with the divine. There is a change of the wind. Be ready, because this situation and these situations are not for you, and perhaps there is something ahead of you, something that you are manifesting, and perhaps you feel it, although you are unsure. I feel it's going to be amazing, because this is all soul growth here. This is illumination. This is happiness. And these are people here trying to keep you stuck and out of it. And perhaps they saw this potential. So they try to break you down in order to keep you in your place, or in the place they thought you should be. Don't go towards this situation, because it's definitely not from you. It's not for you. Hold back, because all it is a bunch of drama and conflict, and it's a distraction. They're trying to distract you because they want you to be below them in some way, because it makes themselves feel better. But they can't hold you down. It's like there's 3 things that you can't. There's 3 things that you are sure that will rise to the surface: the sun, the moon, and truth. And this truth, this realization, is going to lead you to amazing things. But that's what I got for you, Aries. Be prepared, be poised. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, comment, donation box below if you feel moved to do so. If not, I love you lots, and I will talk to you later. Bye.